Video 2.4, Remote Team Communications. We have talked a lot in Module 2 about communication for remote employees, and we're going to take a deep dive into exactly what kind of conversations need to happen, how often, and when. So, expectations. As discussed in previous parts of Module 2, it's important that all of your employees know what you expect from them and you know what you can expect from your employees. And having an open line of communications with a remote team is very important. Working hours. We talked a lot about your team setting boundaries and defining and sharing the hours and schedules that they'll be keeping. A few things that should be considered to take the practice a step further are what time zones is everyone working in and how will this be communicated? What are the expected working hours that each person has? What should the overlapping working hours for folks in different time zones be? And if you need to be offline or run an errand or you're in a meeting, how will that be communicated? How will it be communicated when someone is sick or feeling unwell? Are there times that team members should not be disturbed? What's the expected response time for messages? Does that vary depending on what the message is or in the channel that it's delivered in? Components of this should all be a master contact list and or on a remote work guidelines sheet. Payroll checks. While some of this might be obvious, it's an important conversation to have. I always share this example. One of my clients, when the pandemic broke out, told me that my check was just as important as keeping the lights on. So be proactive and have those conversations, and your employees will appreciate you for that. They might need to know about their benefits, about resources that are available to them. And if we look at our key components from class number 1, crisis communications, we want to remember our choice of words. We want to make sure that your employees understand that this situation is fluid. We want to use things like physical distancing instead of social distancing. And you don't have to apologize. You didn't create this problem. You're the one trying to find solutions, which that's what you need to focus on. Don't dwell on the problem, focus on solutions. Announce plans when they are processes. So don't announce plans before they are processes, and show empathy. It's also important to communicate as if you were in the office. Say good morning. You could also create a water cooler atmosphere during remote meetings. Some considerations to incorporate. Writing asynchronously. So get off the real-time communication dependence. Give your team 24 hours to respond. That way you are not wasting your team's time while they sit and wait for others to respond. Give your team time to triage. All messages are not created equal, and your team needs to work on what is most important. Give your team time to think. Give your team time to think about complex issues and problem solve in a thorough way. Make it easier to share information. Skip the meetings. Is there an announcement that you can make without having a meeting? Can you record your team-wide memo into a video that your team can watch on their own time? Is there a decision discussion that needs to happen? You could write a long-form message that initiates your ideas and the trade-offs that you're proposing, and allow your team time to digest them and then have a meeting to discuss. So match your message to the channel. In social media, we always say match the message and delivery to the platform, but this is no different. So it's important to consider the following when communicating to your team. What is your default mode of communication? Is it email, video call, chat, a phone call? Which channel or tool should be used for which type of communication? Who else should be copied on a message, if anyone? When something is urgent, how should it be communicated? What about when it's not? What is the right cadence for checking in on a certain communication? Lastly, make sure to gauge the personalities of your team. You might have a team that doesn't want the fluff, and they might just want to work. Adjust your communications to meet their personalities. For reading 2.4, you'll be learning from 2 articles: Successful Remote Teams that Communicate in Bursts, and 7 Communication Secrets of Remote Teams. For Activity 2.4, you're going to be developing a remote communication plan. If you took Class 1 Crisis Communications, this can be developed as part of that plan and build up on your existing plan. Activity 2.5, we will have a topic channel discussion for your biggest takeaway from this section on remote communications.